Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am just in a mood to start a vlog today. I don't know why. Well, maybe I do know why. It's because I feel alive for the first time in a few days. I've been kind of knocked out by some sort of cold flu for a few days. And today's the first day I feel actually like myself again. So I just want to do stuff. I want to do all the things I've just not wanted to do the last few days. And one of them is apparently vlogging. So this is going to be a little reading vlog. I have no real plan for it other than just to share with you my reading for a week. So it's actually Tuesday today. Like I said, I wasn't feeling great yesterday. But today I've been back at work. I think it's like 4:30 now. So I'm about to take Maggie out for a walk and I was going to start a new audiobook. So I finished Blob this morning. I don't know how I feel about it. I love a weird book, but it just didn't do much for me. I found the main character so unlikable, which is fine, but I need like something to make me root for someone, even if they are generally not a good person. Like I just found her very annoying to read from. And I wanted more of the Blob, honestly. Bob the Blob was severely underutilized, in my opinion. I felt like the ending was just kind of like really abrupt and it didn't feel satisfying in any way. It just felt like it was like, oh, well, everything's fine now. I don't know. Didn't really get much from it. So I've not reviewed it yet, but I'm kind of feeling like it's more of like a 2.5 stars for me. But I was thinking, I'm getting very excited for the International Booker Prize. And one of the books that is eligible that I really want to read is The Wax Child by Olga Raven. So I'm thinking I might pick that up on audiobook because I don't love buying hardbacks and it's not out in paperback yet. So I might start that on my walk. So other than finishing Blob, I'm also reading like 7 other books at the moment. Not really, but not far off. I am working my way through On a Woman's Madness by Astrid Romer. And this was her English language debut. It follows a woman called Noenka who gets married and is married for 9 days before she asks her husband for a divorce and he refuses, and so it's her escaping Suriname to like find her freedom basically, and how she deals with being, I guess, free, independent and discovering what she wants from life. I'm only like 50 pages in. It's very interesting writing. I'm not sure whether it's taking me a while to get into it, and I will get into it, but it's very disjointed at the moment, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm very much enjoying the characters. The actual writing style, and I guess that could be a translation thing, but the actual writing style is kind of a bit of a struggle at the moment, but we'll see where we go with that. And then on my Kindle, I'm reading Cursed Daughters by Oyinkan Braithwaite. This is the author who wrote My Sister the Serial Killer, which I read a few years ago and thought was great. So I'm excited, and this I'm enjoying a lot. It's following a woman called Aban who's pregnant and her cousin dies. Like the book opens at her cousin's funeral, so that's not a spoiler. She ends up going into labour at the funeral, and it seems that the baby is very physically similar to her cousin when she was a baby. And there's like a creepy vibe that maybe her cousin has been reborn within this baby. But again, I'm only like in the first sort of 50 pages, so we'll have to wait and see where that goes. And then I always like to have a non-fiction book on the go. Well, I say that. Not always, but I try and have a non-fiction book that I'm reading sort of slower. And I've been trying to read a chapter a day of a non-fiction book. And at the moment, I'm reading Africa is Not a Country, Breaking Stereotypes of Modern Africa by Deepo Fallon. And I'm enjoying it so much. I'm not finding it dry at all. It's really interesting. Again, I don't know why I'm at the start of so many books. Normally I'm like further through, but I've like finished quite a few over the last few days. But I am, again, like a few chapters into this, and I've like highlighted so many things because I'm already just like learning so much stuff that I just was unknowingly quite like ignorant about, in that I just have never thought about. Like, for example, one of the first chapters is about how Africa was divided up into countries, but it was done so by a lot of Western countries, I think like Britain, France, Belgium, and they did that without any real consideration of the actual topography of the land, of the culture, of the people that live there, obviously. And the ongoing conflicts in Africa are like a legacy of that decision that some white men made hundreds of years ago, because they basically wanted to own all the resources. And like the borders of so many countries don't make any logical sense when you actually think about it. But no Africans were taken into account when making the decisions. It was just purely someone drew a line on a map. And that's just like, I mean, it's not interesting in like a enjoyable way, but it's just so interesting to like look at things in that new perspective that I've just not looked at them like that before. Like looking at a map of, like I do a lot of work with African plants at work. And so I would say I know the sort of layout of Africa quite well, but I just have never like looked at it and seen how many stupidly straight lines there are and how borders shouldn't just be straight lines. Anyway, I'm just finding it really interesting, but also it's very accessible. It's not like a textbook, and I'm finding it really enjoyable. So if you've wanted to read that one, I would definitely recommend. And then I thought, while we're here, before I take Maggie, I went to the library yesterday and I got a few books. And I'm really excited about all of them. I think they will probably be as soon as I finish when I finish my physical book. I like to have a physical, a Kindle, an audio, and a non-fiction going at all times, so that I always have something that I'm in the mood for. But as soon as I finish my physical book, I'm going to pick up these because I'm really excited about all of them. But we have We Are Green and Trembling by Gabriela Cabenzon Camara. This is translated from the Spanish, but it is an Argentinian author. And I think it's eligible for the International Booker as well. And I've seen a lot of people predicting this might be on the long list. So when I saw it, I really wanted to pick it up. Then I got Disappoint Me by Nicola Dinan. This is a very irritating example of how rubbish UK covers can be compared to US ones, because the US one of this is so much better, in my opinion. And then I think maybe this is one of the ones I'm most excited for. This is Perfection by Vincenzo Latronico, maybe. So this is an Italian translation. It follows a couple called Tom and Anna, who are like millennial expats in Berlin. And then I also picked up Shark Heart by Emily Harbeck. So it starts out sounding like a classic weird girl book, in that it's a young couple who have just got married, and then the man finds out, well, he gets diagnosed with a rare condition where although he'll retain most of his consciousness, his human intelligence and his memories, his physical body is going to gradually turn into that of a great white shark. So I'm really excited for all of these, and I don't really know which one to start first. But for now, I need to take Maggie for a walk, and I am going to start The Wax Child by Olga Raven. So we'll see what that audiobook is like, and I'll report back. It is Wednesday morning. I'm just sat in the car in the cold trying to defrost my windscreen because it's actually that cold. Maggie's in the back waiting to go to the woods. Today is going to be a bit of a weird day. We've got a hospital appointment this morning, so it's going to be a bit all over the place, but I will hope to get some reading done later. I did read about 50 pages of On a Woman's Madness last night.
I am enjoying it. I feel like I'm understanding most of what's going on, which maybe, I mean, if it's about a woman's madness, like, maybe you're not meant to understand everything that's going on. Maybe it is meant to be a bit of like a spiral, like, insanity vibe, but it's just quite hard to understand. Like, each paragraph seems very disjointed, like you don't know if you're switching times or not, and I find that quite like hard to read because I'm constantly like, wait a minute, who is this, what's going on, like, when is this, kind of thing. And I also read another sort of 50 pages of Kerr's Daughters, which I'm really enjoying. So we've read from both the perspective of a bun who I was telling you about, and also the aunt that died, so like in the past. So I guess we're going to find out what happens, why she died, and then also the daughter, so we go into the future as well to hear from the perspective of the daughter, who is like a reincarnation of her aunt. It's really interesting, and I'm enjoying hearing from like the different perspectives. I did start The Wax Child last night, yesterday when I walked Maggie, and I'm going to listen to a bit more of it this morning. Oh, my windscreen is clear. Okay, I'll go in a minute. But The Wax Child, I don't think I said what it's about, and to be honest, it's because I didn't really know. But it seems to be, so it's a Denmark translation. I read Olga Raven's book, The Employees, last year and really liked it, so I was really excited for this. So far it seems to be very different. It's following like this woman who, it may or may not be a witch, but almost definitely is, has created out of wax a child, like a baby, and somehow given life to it. We're reading from the Wax Child's perspective. So I think it's going to be more about like witchcraft and the sort of persecution of witches. So I'm going to read a little bit more this morning. But we should probably go get in the woods.
Good morning. It is Thursday. Myself and Maggie went out for a very wet walk this morning. I am a bit dishevelled, but I listened to about an hour of The Wax Child, which was I am enjoying it. I'm just going over here to feed Maggie. Come on, Megs. I am enjoying it. I feel like it's a little bit hard to follow the actual narrative, if that makes sense. I don't know how I feel. I don't know whether it was maybe not the best audiobook to listen to. Maybe I would have been better reading it. But I am enjoying it and I am following what's going on. It's just a little bit, I guess, a bit more experimental, which, to be fair, so was her other book. So I maybe should have expected that. But yes, I'm now like 40% through that. I'm also nearly finished with On a Woman's Madness. So this, I got to page 150 last night, and I think I'm going to try and finish this today. Again, not sure how I feel. I'm enjoying the story, but it's just not something that I feel like has made a massive impact on me. Like, I don't feel like it will be something I think about forever. But not every book needs to be like that. Some books you just enjoy while you're reading them, and that's sort of all you need it for. So I'm still really glad I've read this. I think it's been a perspective that I've not really read. I mean, I've never read anything from Suriname, so it is a perspective I've never read from before. But just like to read about a sort of courageous black woman who is living very much outside of her societal norms. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with that one. But otherwise, it's quite a quiet day. We had quite a busy day yesterday, which is why I didn't update you. No other real plans. And then this weekend's kind of quiet too. I'll speak to you in a bit. Probably after work. Technically, I finish work in about 12 minutes. But alas, it is so cold that I've made it to the sofa, and I'm thinking a little early finish today, and I'm going to start reading this again. I've got, I think, like 50 pages left, which I'm really excited about because I am so excited for all my library books. But I'm really trying to, I mean, I do read about 8,000 books at once, but I'm really trying to keep it like manageable and not just start loads of books, because I know if I start one of them I just won't come back to this to the point where I'll forget what was happening. That is my plan. I'm going to read for a bit. Maggie is snoozing on the other sofa. She's got one eye open looking at me right now. I'm going to finish work in a few minutes and then read my book for a little bit before I take Maggie out for a walk, because that is just all I do, is walk the dog, work and read. Luckily, Ben and I we like to meal prep for the month. This is just dinners. We don't do lunches and breakfasts, but we will just spend the whole weekend, like we cook like batches of 5 different meals that go in the freezer, and then throughout the next like 4 to 5 weeks we can just sort of pick and choose, so you still get a bit of a range but without having to cook every night, because we hated cooking every night. And then normally at the weekend we have a bit more energy to do like more fun meals. So we have some vegetarian pies for dinner tonight that I made, and I'm really excited. The night is looking nice and chill. Although it is horrible and rainy and miserable outside, I kind of like it because I like hibernating when it's weather like this. I've been talking for ages. I'm going to read my book now. I have got a parcel to open. I have been doing some vintage book shopping and I just went to pick up this one. Okay, let's see what we have. This is somehow wrapped in a Primark bag. I'm not doing this well. Here we go. Okay. So we have, someone sent me they sent me an extra one. It's a proof copy. That is so, okay, we'll go to that last. What I ordered was, so we have a Tilted Axis book. This is Manashi by Hamid Ismailov. I think this is a Kyrgyzstan author, which is not a country I've read. I don't know why I just stopped recording. I don't actually know what this is about, but I do love Tilted Axis publishers for publishing from a lot of countries that you don't see very often. Then I have There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kokoro Tsushimura. I read this a good few years ago, but I didn't have a copy of it. And I do like, if I read a book and I enjoy it, I do like having a copy of it. It feels like a reward to get one for my bookshelf. So why not? You're paying postage anyway. Why not get a few? So I picked that one up. Then I haven't read this one. This is Normal Women by Ainsley Hogarth, but I have seen the cover before. It looks like a bit of like a weird book for word girls kind of vibe. Oh, it even looks a bit culty, which I love. And then finally, we have Exit Management by Naomi Booth. Again, don't know what this is. Oh, it sounds very dark actually. But yes, I thought it looked interesting from the cover. And then, so lovely, the person has included a free book. They left a little note saying, I just put a little extra one in for you as I'm clearing out books. And it's a proof copy of a Banana Yoshimoto book called Premonition. But that is so cool. I've read a few Yoshimoto books. I have a few on my TBR, but I've not read this one. So that's really exciting. And that's really kind of them. So that is my little haul. Quite a pink vibe. So it's giving Valentine's. Good morning. It is Friday, finally. I did quite a bit of reading last night. I can't remember when I last spoke to you, but I finished On a Woman's Madness by Astrid Roma. I've just been trying to put my thoughts into place with this one because it's quite an interesting one in that I thought it was... Well, first I'll tell you what it's about because I'm not sure if I have, but briefly... we're in post-colonial Suriname and we're following a black woman in her mid-20s called Noenka who has just gotten married to a man, and 9 days later she decides, yeah, this was a mistake, I want a divorce, and she is goes on to try and make her own way in life in a world that seems to constantly be telling her that she shouldn't be doing that and she should sit down and be quiet, which is a theme that I love. There was some really beautiful and very actually quite philosophical parts of this. The writing and the prose I think was really beautiful. The actual storytelling was very disjointed, and it is very fragmented. It's very disjointed. Every single paragraph you're bouncing around between times and settings and back and forward in time, and it's quite hard to follow in places.
not everything is handed to you on a plate. A lot of things are described without like implicitly telling you what's going on. And then later on you'll find out more about the event and be like, oh, so that's what was happening. So it is a difficult read. That being said, I did find a lot of this very thought-provoking. So this was actually originally published in Dutch in the 1980s, although the English language translation was only published, I think, last year or very recently. And I think that is clear, although a lot of the themes are still very relevant. So we have a lot about post-colonialism, patriarchy, gender roles, sexuality, and like women's liberation. Obviously those themes are still relevant, but you can in some ways tell that this was written over 40 years ago. Overall, it was definitely one of the most challenging books I've read so far this year, but I am glad I persevered. I do feel like I got a lot of thought-provoking things out of it. It was a perspective that I've not really read from before. If you like books about women and queer liberation, this is probably quite an important story. To put some context into that in a country where that is incredibly like patriarchal and conservative. But overall, I gave it 3 stars. I'm really glad I read it. I think it's a very important book. And yeah, so then I picked up Shark Heart, and I am already obsessed with this. I read 150 pages last night. 110 pages last night. I feel quite attached to this book already. I don't know, maybe I won't say too much right now because I'm quite still a bit early on and we'll see how things go. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm finding the writing really easy to read. I'm really like sort of lyrical almost. And also Ren, who is the female main character in this book, is very relatable to me. She's very like, she loves lists and organisation and spreadsheets and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, this is me. So yeah, I'm enjoying this, really excited to carry on with this today. I have been listening to The Wax Child on my dog walks. I think I'm about 66% through. Again, I am enjoying it. It's very much, I'm loving the themes of witchcraft. Like there was one section or one quote where it was like, where there's women there's witchcraft, and I was like, love that. But again, it's very literary, so it's in some places a little bit difficult to figure out what's going on, but I am enjoying it. I've got about 2 hours of that left, and I am looking forward to listening to it every time I go out. But yeah, so now I'm going to crack on with some work, but I'm going to carry on with those books later.
Hello. It's Sunday night. I haven't recorded for a few days because this weekend was busy. Oh, Maggie has come to say hello. Yeah, like I said, we've had quite a busy weekend, but I have done a lot of reading. I finished Shark Heart on Saturday night. I loved this. I thought it was so unique and so interesting, and I actually cried a little bit. And books don't make me cry that often, so I really wasn't expecting it going in. When the premise is a man turns into a shark, I wasn't expecting to cry, and I very much did. I thought the writing was really witty and funny, but also very emotional, very heartbreaking. I did kind of wish we'd dive deeper into the genetic mutations as a society rather than just like the characters that we follow in the book, but other than that, I loved it, and I'm really happy I read it. Today I also finished The Wax Child by Olga Raven. This is a Denmark translation. I also really enjoyed this. There was actually an author's note at the end that put a lot more context into it that made me sort of look back and think I enjoyed it more than I did when reading it. So it's based around a true story of a group of women who were accused of witchcraft in Northern Europe in the 16th century. And you can tell the author has done so much research. It's so meticulously researched. It is very interesting, and I did really enjoy the writing. I found it really atmospheric and quite moody and quite haunting, but I just didn't feel very connected to the character. I didn't feel much. I just didn't feel very connected. I don't know if that's because we were hearing the story from a third person telling us what they were observing, and I don't know if that made me less connected. But yeah, it just didn't hit as hard as I thought it was going to. I'll be interested to see if it gets chosen for the International Booker long list on Tuesday. So yeah, I'm going to finish this vlog now because I want to start a new one on Tuesday. I'm going to try and read the whole long list when it gets announced on Tuesday. So I need to finish everything I'm currently reading, which actually isn't that many books. I'm like halfway through Cursed Daughters, which I'm really enjoying. That is the end of the vlog. I hope you've enjoyed. It's been a good reading week. I feel like I've really done a lot of reading. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Bye.